29th December 1991, Zambia was declared a Christian nation by the late sitting Republican President Frederick Titus Jacob Chilobampundu. May his soul rest in peace. And 35 years later, Zambia still remains a Christian nation. Suffice to say that every president that has come into power after him, or the sixth president, have upheld the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation, meaning Zambia is a covenanted nation with God. And to top it all, last year on 29th December, the sitting president, His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, declared 29th December as a public Mr. Hakainde Hichilema declared 29th December as a public holiday, which all the Christians across the nation have been given, and every other Zambian, so that they can be able to celebrate that nation, commemorating Zambia as a Christian nation. And now, the elephant in the room is, has Zambia lived up to the covenant or up to the expectation of a Christian nation? Are its leaders in sync with the covenant? So today on Let's Talk About It, we are discussing how should a God-fearing nation operate. And joining me in the studio is Mr. Vance and Mr. Swart, and they'll be able to tell us what they're doing, who they are, but they are Zambian citizens. Yes, so help me to welcome them to the program. You are welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pauline. We appreciate, and we are humbled to be on this program. Mm-hmm. And hopefully we'll give a great knowledge on this, because this of how a God-fearing country operates. Mm-hmm. There's no country in the world that operates like a God-fearing country should operate. Okay. Hopefully our country will start doing it, because it's very important.
Awesome. Maybe just briefly tell us about who you are and for how long you've been in Zambia, where you born here, and because sometimes when we look at the color and then you just think that no.
Well, I was born on Leopards Hill Ranch in 1954, and I was fortunate as well, because I was born in a household which was God-fearing, and we were taught to pray as soon as we could understand. As kids, we were taught to pray Our Father every morning when we wake up, and also every evening when we go and sleep. But in between, when we got up in the morning, we'd get a hug and a kiss from our Father and amongst ourselves. So there was a lot of love. I was very fortunate and blessed, because my father and mother never ever had aggression or whatever in front of us since I was born and I left the home. So that was made that your house was full of love, and that you always felt safe within the house. So yes, it left a solid foundation for me to work upon, because to be God-fearing is very important, because you hate nobody.
Awesome. Mr. Swart?
I was born in Zambia, and in December to be specific. I grew up on a humble family. My mother and dad taught me to obey the laws of the Bible, to pray, and to be equal on earth. That I was taught that doesn't matter about your skin color or whatever it is, you are all equal on this world. So I was born on, I can't remember, 21st of March, 45.
Awesome. So that being said, we have established that we are all Zambians in this studio. We are all Zambians. Awesome. So now let's dive into the discussion today. And I'm going to start with you, Mr. Vance. Should Zambians' laws, being a Christian nation, should the laws be based solely on biblical principles?
Pauline, I think because I've got this revelation from our God that because God is God, He has created everybody. Doesn't matter if you're orange, green, blue, or purple. And every child that is born of flesh and blood. God is the one that puts that soul into that baby when it's born. And then when that baby grows up, obviously, they have to be actually been taught, and that's what I think we neglected when we got our independence, is that we didn't bring the basis, because in our country we had that time, we had Jews, we had Muslims, we had Protestants, we had Catholics, we had everything. But being God-fearing people, we should get along with each other, but yet we don't. Why? Because there's not that genuine God-fearing being done to each person. Because when you are God-fearing, that's how I was taught, then you do not speak or do evil, and you do not tell lies, and you only do good. Because that is supposed to be the motto of a true God-fearing individual. And that's why that's why I was saying we should actually be, according to the revelation I have, to be a country where we absorb everybody. Because what is the foundation is the 10 Commandments. Doesn't matter what we believe in. And then from small, what the mistake we did when we got our independence, because how do we sing our national anthem? It says there, we should be one, let our people be one, and it also says God fashioned and blessed by God with God's good hand, and all that. That's all written. So we are actually committed to live like a country that is God-fearing. Because if we're God-fearing, then all the religions can cooperate. Because we're working on the 12 commandments, the 10 commandments, and what's that's Moses' law. But what is important? Thou shalt not kill. Because you cannot kill any other individual, because they're God's individuals. Now, you know, God-fearing people, we never hate anybody, the God-fearing people. Because why? Because God says we must even love our enemy. Why? Because God's enemy is the devil. But all those that do the devil's will are also his enemy. So they should be our enemy as well if we're God-fearing people. But why does God say we must love our enemy? It's because that person, although he's doing the devil's will, he can repent and go to a state of remorse, and he can become a God-fearing person. But that responsibility we should teach the children from when they can understand that they are responsible, each one is responsible for his own salvation. And then in the beginning, when we got the country, we should have just been one party. Because, you know, God-fearing people, why do you have politicians in different parties? Because that's already splits the individuals. Because if you have a party, you should have a party named, for example, the Individualist Party. Because what does the Individualist Party entail? It entails every individual within that country belongs to that party. So when people are selected, they should be God-fearing people. So in the beginning, if we had God-fearing people, and they were, when Zambia became Zambia, they were God-fearing people. Doesn't matter, but they were from different, that's why I say from different congregations, maybe Jews, maybe Indians, maybe whatever. But all of them could have participated, being God-fearing, to become the president or whatever, and be in the constituencies, those type of people. So that we must respect each other. Being God-fearing people, we should respect everyone that believes in God, no matter what if they're Jews or they whatever, what belief they have. But the child should be taught from the beginning, when he can understand how you go about to save your soul. Because we on this world to do exactly that.
Awesome. Mr. Swart, do you think that Zambia should prioritize Christian values over religions in our country?
No, I don't. I think that we should teach our children the basics of religion. Doesn't matter what religion. If you're a Jew or you're a Hindu or whatever you are, you've got the basic principles of coming up and being in this world for a purpose. The purpose is to save and to be saved. Either you save or you get lost. So being a Christian nation, we have to start, and I think the best place to start it is at schools.
Okay.
When I started school, we used to have assembly, and we had, before, we had prayers and everything, but that is all gone now. And being a Christian nation, I think that is the biggest mistake that we made, and that is to bring up our children like animals in the grass. You just push them out in the grass and they eat. And that is in my opinion, it's very wrong. Because they don't know where they come from, they don't know where they're going. It's just, you're just an animal. And I think that's very wrong, because the Bible says that you have to teach your children the basics. And the basics is, there's a God, and you have to give accountant for that one day.
So you think that the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation is the one that has caused people to go astray?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't think that, but I think that the one who said that Zambia should be a Christian nation came short, because he should have elaborated on that one and said that we must, as a Christian nation, we must do X, Y, Z.
Okay, all right. And then in terms of National Day of Prayer and Fasting, 18th October was declared a National Day of Prayer and Fasting. Do you think it is necessary for Christians to come together as a nation to pray and fast for the nation on that day?
I think it's wrong, because I think that a Christian and a Christian nation should be praying every day for the leaders, and we should pray for our fellow Zambians as a Christian nation, and keep it in mind so that we can grow up together, live together, and work together.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Vance, how do you reconcile Zambia's Christian identity with its diverse culture? How can it be reconciled, the Christianity and the culture?
The thing is, yes, when Zambia became Zambia, the thing is, that's why I said it should have been incorporated then already, that they are taught, because if you do God's will, the thing is teaching them what's God's will out of the scriptures and what's devil's will, because then that individual can also then control himself, and also it's every individual's responsibility and to have their own and work after their own salvation. So that the main thing is they should know that if the soul that God gave them should inherit everlasting life, but to inherit everlasting life, he has to do God's will. And it was taught to him at school level from a small age. So that is very important, because I knew when Zambia got its independence, there were some areas very far away from the cities that the people didn't even know about God, for example. So the witchcraft and that is all the devil's will. That's part of the devil's will if you go and look at scriptures. So if you participate with that, you're actually busy with that. That's why in the beginning we had to get that through to the children. So if all the children had that in all the schools, look, if we are a Christian nation, or I'll say a God-fearing nation, we should operate like God cares about every individual soul. He says, I don't even want to perish. That's why you have the 1,000-year peace period, you have the first uprising, and then you have the final uprising, which is the final one. Because even those that are still influenced by the devil, by the time it comes to the end, then they will rise up on the first uprising, and then the devil is bound for that 1,000-year peace period, so it cannot influence the people that fell under his control. But I'm sorry to say, the devil and the one that preaches false word and the one that takes the mark on the forehead, on the hand, that one's reserved already in hell, or everlasting death and everlasting pain. So to me, we've slipped up from the beginning, because if we'd done that right, then our people that would come out from those children, and how many years are we ahead now? They would have been God-fearing people. Then we would get God-fearing people moving into presidency. Then you don't have to change the party, because we are working according to one thing. We're working towards God's standard. So each individual, it's important that we look after each individual. And as a God-fearing country, each individual deserves, from when he's a baby, to be developed to his fullest potential, to be very important to the country. Because if everyone was given that opportunity, every individual, that's what God wants. But the problem is we're selfish. This is what happens. If we do not, that's why we don't get along as all like the Jews and the Christians and the Muslims and whatever. All those different ones in Zambia, because those we had when we became independent, or all those. But we should accommodate everybody. If we're really God-fearing, we love everybody. Because what happens is the stronger we get in faith, then we do not even talk bad about anybody. We don't hate anybody. We don't call anybody a racist when we're God-fearing. And contrary, they call us racists. But it's a problem. Because if you're calling someone racist, you better watch it. Because who's the biggest racist of all time? It's Almighty God. Because who made the black, white, and the yellow? I can't give you the answers for that. We made the colors, yes. In between us, we made the colors. But the wonderful thing is this. If you do God's will, doesn't matter what you are, orange, green, blue, or purple. If you do God's will, you will inherit, and you've got to do it to the end. If you go to Ezekiel 18, which gives you your own responsibility, then you will see there, you can't go 70% of your life with God, and then the other 30% you decide, no, the world is a nice life, I want to do that now. What does Ezekiel 18 say? The moment you do that, forget what you did for God, that 70% of your life. You will inherit everlasting death because you didn't complete up to the finishing line. So when you are a God-fearing person, you are dedicated, and to know that you have to be friendly to everybody, because that is being God-fearing, and you humble. You don't think you're better than even the one that cleans the floor. Because why? Because the one that cleans the floor can go to heaven. And you that think you're almighty or whatever and very important, you might go and end up in the wrong side of the system. And what people forget is this. On Judgment Day, there's no status. I can be a king, I can be a pope, I can be anything, but that day I stand there equal to even the one that cleans the floor.
True. And Mr. Swart, you had talked about, when you started school, there used to be prayers before you went in class. So do you think that the schools should incorporate Bible study and prayers in, the Zambian curriculum?
I think it's very necessary.
Okay.
Very necessary to incorporate it, because then we will know what is right and what is wrong. Because as it stands now, people are growing up through school, learning and becoming whatever it is that they would, but they lack one thing in life, and that is religious education. They don't know where they're coming from, and they don't know where they're going, because they haven't been taught. And I personally would like it to come into school again. You have your assemblies, and after that, there must be a time when they can, whatever religious you are, they must incorporate that. Yes,
Okay.
I think so.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So in case you're just joining us, you're watching Let's Talk About It, and today we are discussing how a godly nation, a God-fearing nation should operate. So I'll see you on the other side. We'll just take a short break and we'll continue on the other side.
Others were working, they had good jobs, but they lost it along the way. So they need your support, they need your help. Feel free to visit our center so that we advise on how we can come together and help these individuals.
For the most anticipated talk show of the year.
Let's talk about it with Pastor Pauline. So we have been discussing foundations upon which most of the relationships are built.
Join us as we tackle the toughest social issues affecting our community, from child marriages to youth empowerment, and from gender-based violence to women empowerment, from governance to corruption, and, of course, women participation in politics, and other male-dominated industries. We will be discussing it all.
Leah, confessed it in Genesis chapter 29, verse 32. She says, God has opened my womb because he has seen my affliction. But despite that, Jacob did not love her.
Our presenter will guide the conversation, ensuring that you have a respectful and thought-provoking discussion. And you have a chance to join in on the conversation through our phone-in segment. Call us live, share your thoughts, and ask your questions. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of the conversation. Let's talk about it. Every Wednesday at 1 p.m. on CBC TV. Don't miss. Get ready for the...
Thank you for staying tuned, and in case you're just joining us, you're watching Let's Talk About It. And today we have a very interesting topic, bearing in mind that Zambia was declared a Christian nation 35 years ago by the second Republican president, who is late, So we are discussing how a God-fearing nation should operate. So before we went on break, Mr. Swati was saying that in schools, he is recommending that the school curriculum should incorporate Bible study and prayers. But Mr. Swat, how about the Zambian president or the Zambia's president? Should he swear on the Bible and take an oath of office in church? I've seen during the inauguration, when the president is being inaugurated, they lift the Bible and they declare, they make an oath, they take an oath. What do you make of that?
I'm not for it, because the Bible says that my yes must be yes and my no must be no. But swearing on the Bible is against the Bible laws, because it says you don't swear by the Bible, and your yes must be yes and your no must be no. So I don't see why they do that.
Awesome. Mr. Vance, do you think that the Zambian president or the Zambia's president or the Zambia's leaders should be born again? Not only the president, but every leader in Zambia. Should they be born again Christians to effectively govern?
I think if we were Christians from the very beginning, and we should have had God-fearing people coming into office, then it's not necessary to be reborn Christian, because you are a Christian. So why must you be reborn as a Christian then? To me, I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, when you're reborn in your immortal body. When you appear in front of God for Judgment Day, because everybody will appear in their immortal body on Judgment Day, and that's when you're reborn. But then the problem is you're going to be judged whether you have everlasting death or everlasting life. That's what the end result is. Because the time we're on this world is this short, very short. So we've got to make a good of it, and we've got to make sure that if we want our souls to be saved and inherit everlasting life, we have to perform accordingly and give God all the grace, because we're just humble. We're just fortunate that we have the opportunity to live according to His will. But
and some of these leaders, most of them, if not all, will say that they are Christians.
Well, when you have ministers buying 3 helicopters and 20 houses, then I wonder what the issue is. Because if a God-fearing person doesn't think about himself first, these politicians seem to me, as I've experienced through all the years, they think of themselves. They enrich themselves and the people automatically around them. But what's happening when you go further into Zambia, if you go to the rural areas and you see how those kids struggle and that, then you're wondering, we can't be a Christian nation if this is what's happening. Then we, somewhere along the line, we are hollow, because we are not, because a God-fearing, I would say a God-fearing person within the government should care about his country first, his people, the nature, and everything else, because God says to a God-fearing people, I'll give you nature and everything else to manage, not to destroy or to charcoal or to whatever. No. We've got to look after everything, because we are responsible as God-fearing people, so that the people that follow behind us, our kids and that come, are also God-fearing, because they're taught that way, and then that they can be responsible for their own salvation, because that's what each individual should do, and they should work according to that, because if we don't give them that knowledge, we are responsible for that as well. Because ahead, God will ask all these leaders, you say you're a Christian country, but what did you do that was Christian-wise or according to my will? What have you done? Because I'm telling you, 90% of them has got a problem. Because why? Because a middle salary owner in the country can't even afford a house to stay because of the salary they're getting. Why? But you got a minister with 3 helicopters, one with 20 houses, and heaven knows what else. No. Something is horribly wrong. Because we are not God-fearing, and we are definitely not doing what we're supposed to be doing, to be blessed by God. I'm sorry to say that, but that is a fact.
Mr. Swart, I want to divert a bit.
Yes.
So there's something that bothers me, and I know it's a bother to most of our viewers out there. The issues of, this hinges on the issues of human rights, where parents cannot correct their children because they'll report them to the police, they can't take away their gadgets, and you can't beat your own children. But if I've read from my Bible, it says, spare the rod and spoil the child. Yeah. Then the other issue that I have seen, I know it may be something that's not talked about, but it is happening in a Christian nation, the issue of LGBTQ. So how can a Christian nation balance its Christianity with these same international pressures on these issues?
Yes, Pauline, I can tell you that if you keep the rod from your child, you are neglecting that child. I don't say you have to beat it, but give him something to be what can I say, to be scared of. When you threaten him, I'm going to beat you, you don't have to beat him, but he knows that he's done wrong and you're going to correct him. So I think it's very, for a Christian nation, that you must keep that in mind, that you have to have something to keep the child from going out of the way and bring him back so he knows that it's there. So what it is, the Bible says you mustn't beat him, but you must keep the rod. So that is the thing we're all scared of, that we had a saying in Afrikaans, a kwaai man. it is an angry man. In translating it into English, it's an angry man. So we had a lot of respect. When my mum or dad takes the Kwaiman, we know that we're going to have get a hiding. But it's not a hiding, it is just the token to keep the child from doing wrong and bringing him back right again.
Awesome, awesome. And Mr. Vance, do you think that when our leaders sit in Parliament to deliberate national matters, should they start with prayer?
Definitely, I think so. And I also think that being like a God-fearing country should operate. Then I think they should get turns. Like the rabbi of the Jews should open the parliament with prayer and everything one day, and the next time maybe the Muslim, and the next time the Christian, next time. So that everybody participates within the country. Because that's why we have one God, and we believe in one God, all of us, and we just act according to the 10 Commandments.
So if the leader of the Christian nation is a Christian, don't you think that he should be the one to lead because of the Christian connotation?
Yes.
And because if you go to Islamic nations, a Christian cannot be given an opportunity to, like maybe to pray or anything in parliament there. So why should we have a Muslim or another religion to lead in prayer? Because I was going to ask to say who should lead, but then you already said today this one leads, tomorrow a Muslim, and that kind of a thing. We are talking a Christian nation, so how should other religions also be given an opportunity to lead?
If we want to be a God-fearing, then I feel sorry for the Muslims that don't allow the Christians to do it. Because then you are taking God in his face. Because God is the one that created us all. God is the one that created us all, and the bottom line is we've got to do God's will. So you cannot force someone else to do anything that is against God's will. So if you are operating as a God-fearing country, because there's no country doing it this moment in time, but I hope that my country will be the first one to do it. Because if we read the last book, Malachi, in the Bible, in the Old Testament, the last book, it tells us there, and it's funny, like these psychology type of thing, which says you're not allowed to give your child hiding or whatever. But what does that book say right at the end, the last book of the Old Testament? The father will look at the child, and the child will go back to the father, meaning that the 10 Commandments will happen again. Because the thing is, I gave all my kids a hiding, and I've got family members that did it the psychological way. But what happens now when we're further away? My kids love me. And you know what, Pauline? I didn't enjoy giving them a hiding. They would cry maybe for, 30 seconds, and then they'd be playing, and I'm sore for the rest of the week because I gave my kid a hiding. But I know God. You know, in the Old Testament, if you go way back, a disobedient child, if he wasn't listened to whatever, he's taken outside of the walls and stoned to death. So imagine. But we don't do that. I don't want to stone my child to death. But the thing is, they must listen. I know my father. My father had a way, and then when he said to me, Stephanus, I know, look, now I stop just there. Because if I go beyond that, I'm definitely going to get a hiding. So you get to know, and I was the same. I mean, my two sons, the one said, yeah, you never got a hiding, and what? I always used to get a hiding, my eldest son, Stefan. And then Andre said to him one day, they were sitting, I heard them, I didn't actually, he gave the answer. And he said to him, you were always hard and tough, and you want to be this masculine man, and Dad used to say this. And you just carried on, so you got the hiding. When Dad did that, I stopped. And that's the reason why the one got more hiding than the other. Because the younger one was more clever, and he noticed, hey, if I don't stop now, I've got a problem. Because you don't just go and beat them straight. There's that action that you give that they start to know that, hey, Dad is getting now serious, so if I don't stop now, there's going to be a problem. And that's important because that's a way of communicating a warning. It's a warning sign that if they read it correctly, they shouldn't have a problem. And if they go beyond that, obviously, they know they're going to have a problem.
Mrs. Swart, how do you think Zambia can address issues of poverty and inequality in light of biblical teachings on wealth and stewardship?
That's a very good question, and it's hard to answer it. But the way I see it is give everybody a chance to work for it. Because the Bible says, if you, with your sweat, you will eat. So these people that are walking around and doing nothing the whole day and expect to eat at night, I think it's very wrong for us as a nation to keep them. The government should come in, and we haven't got jobs in the country. This I must admit. There's unemployment is very high, and that causes people without the knowledge to start drinking and doing worldly things, which is very wrong in my sight. I think government should come in and do more to educate them to start working with their hands the right way and not the wrong way. Because there's two ways. There's either a right or a wrong. And the Bible tells us that a child who doesn't work shouldn't eat. And I feel that this is where we're lacking a lot in Zambia over here, especially as being a Christian nation. We are not doing that.
And talking of, everyone having something to do, you've well acknowledged that there's high unemployment levels in Zambia. So especially among the youth, what can they do with their hands? Please, you can come in.
Yeah, Pauline, I think if you look like at Botswana or some other countries, they when their kids have finished schooling or whatever, they go into the army. And they go into various, because there's a lot of factions in the army that you can go in the military or whatever. And that gives them a bit of discipline as well. And then they will be in different fields depending on what they specialize in. And then they should be, I think they should go through that. And then they would even be a better person at the end of the day. Because when they've done that, maybe a year or whatever they decide to do, it will be a good step to step on, but then they're already in a working situation. So I don't know, I'm just mentioning because that's what normally happens.
Yeah, I think Zambia, there used to be national service. I remember one time my mom shared with me to say when she finished school, on the last day of the exam, there was already the ZNS vehicle, and they got them. They had no chance or choice. They did not decide no, I have to go home or whatever. You have to go to national service for 6 months before now you venture into whatever.
I think that was very good.
Yeah.
I think that is very good for, especially because if you didn't have discipline at home, you get disciplined. You get disciplined in the national service or the army or the Air Force. It doesn't matter which, but they've got principles and they live by that.
Oh yeah. That's awesome. And now, Mr. Vance, with the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation, I'm not saying good or bad, especially of late, like maybe in the last 10 years or 15 years, there's been a mushrooming of churches. Like these, they like to be called papas. Some of them, this.
Yeah, but we've got to be careful with that.
Yes, so that's where I'm coming. Do you think that the government should regulate the activities of the same? Because some of these are more like misleading a lot of people.
Well, this is it. I think they should apply for whatever to be a different religion or whatever, because they pop up like popcorn. I've seen that. But you wonder why they do it, and you wonder why, because I think they should take their credentials and then they should look at what they're preaching or what they whatever. Because I don't think it's necessary. We've got enough churches, I suppose, already long ago, I suppose. So you can affiliate to any one of those. Why do you want to start all these others? No, it's not good to
They
have.
wake up, they're opening a church.
Yeah.
Because they're in a Christian nation.
And I don't know, I heard some rumors how they go about doing things, and if that's the case, I'm sorry, God will punish them heavily, because they are misusing God's name. So if you use God's name in vain, and that's what also that has come into our life, is, you know, when I was a kid, there was no television. So everything was done, there was communication with the family, you talked and everything. Then a TV came in, and my grandfather never had a TV. Because when he saw it, he said, that is the voice of the beast. It's going to break families apart and what.
Yeah,
But
and it was funny then, but now when we look at it now, it's very true.
You know what, Pauline? In the beginning, the first time I watched TV was in South Africa when I was a youngster. I was doing apprenticeship there with Millroyd. And the funny thing was, we took a cowboy western film video, and we brought it into the house, and we were showing it. And a western, and the lady comes walking out of the water, and she's just got no clothes on. And then what happened was, everybody dived for the control, because it's the first time we've seen this, and everybody's blushing, and we don't know what to do because it's one of our friends
Running away.
And then boom, and then a couple of years later,
It has become normal.
then they do horrible things. Never mind that, and we're looking at it. So
Yeah.
now you wonder if God is looking,
How is he feeling?
and you bringing this into your home, which is your home. And I say it's the devil's church, you know, Hollywood and those, because they're naked and they're doing all the sexual things and what. Now, who are you serving? Because you cannot serve both parties. You got to serve God, or you got to serve the devil. But now for 6 days I'm watching these terrible things, and then Sunday I want to go to church for what?
For an hour.
And in 1 hour you're on the phone. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is it. So we actually, you know, what does God think if he's watching like this? I think if God came into our house, you'd most probably break your TV or something
I
if
know,
he
right?
walked in
Yeah.
that moment.
You just kick it.
And-
like the way Jesus overturned the
Yeah,
the temple.
and you know, these actors are billionaires.
Oh, yeah.
And who's
Too
making
much.
them rich? We that's supposed to be going to church and supposed to be God-fearing, we watching these stupid things and they using God's name in vain, like Christ and God and what, no, he raises like this. And I'll just switch off the TV because I mean, if God, and if you're watching this and letting this in your home, then I wonder what God thinks, you know, of the whole situation. This is the problem. So it does, I don't know, it is, the world is turned up right upside down. And the thing is, but the Bible, all the prophets prophesize these things happening now at the end, where everything's going to go wrong. But God forbid it. We that God-fearing, you got to keep on the narrow road. Because if you got that attitude of, I can't beat them, join them, you will join the devil with everlasting death, that's for sure. So yeah, that's...
It's so sweet. This is getting interesting. Do you think that it would be fair to say Zambia's prosperity is as a result of its Christian heritage, or is it, you know, first of all, let me just clarify to say Zambia has got, you know, lots of minerals, good soil, water bodies, so all those things. I know there's poverty, despite it having 70%, you know, as in water bodies. You find most of the places animals are drinking water with the people, you know, same source. And you find that there's lots of poverty despite us having, you know, wealth in terms of minerals. Yeah.
Pauline, I'd go as far as to say is, it's not that we haven't got the wealth, but it's the wrong way we're going about it. Because we are poor, but yet we are rich. We got all the water, but we are doing very little to use that water. And I think government is using too much money on trying to control, first of all, the charcoal. I can speak about charcoal because
Please, yeah.
because charcoal it's easy. All I need is an axe and a box of matches, and in the end I make something out of it. And I can't stop them from making charcoal because it's a way of living. It's a way of getting money. But the same way, if government comes in and it can organize people, like the Jews, they got the kibbutz, where everybody comes together and you work as a team. Why can't we do it in Zambia?
Ujamaa.
Yeah. Why can't we do it in Zambia? We've got all these donors coming in, giving tractors, giving everything, but it's personalized. It's not for the community. And I think it's very wrong. And that as well is causing our downfall over here. We've got all the minerals, it's plenty, but government can't come in and organize a group of people to mine it, group of people to do agriculture, and give them a group of people to do irrigation, and then we can all prosper. Instead of giving it to one man or national service, I can talk about that one because we've got a big dam in Tisamba area over there. They've got a lot of pivots, but there's no water. So that is a thing. It's a white elephant standing over there. If they took that, split it down into 10 and 15 hectare center pivots, give it out to the poor, they'll be able to manage it and produce food for the nation.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that 100 hectares and there's no water.
And water can be harvested.
Water can be harvested.
It can.
But we aren't doing that. We're doing that. Everything is wrong. Because we don't want to follow what the Bible says. We are making money for ourselves, my own pocket, not for the people. The politicians, they come in and they see how much money they can make. Not working for the people. I'm sorry to say it, but that is fact.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Mr. Vance, what are the recommendations that you can give to the government? I'm sure you have seen poverty also firsthand in this nation.
Yes, definitely, because I was supposed to get land given to me for years now, and we've been all over the country where they were supposed to give me this land. And I saw a lot of poverty, and I saw kids. And I mean, even when we were with Chief Ngozoh, who was a great friend of ours, Ngozoh, may his soul rest in peace, a very God-fearing person and big friend of mine. And we also went, and we were 6 days in his, with Boet as well, in his area with my two sons, Stefan and Andries, and we enjoyed it very much. It's one of the good times we had in Zambia. And we saw the struggling that happens, and that's why I say that our politicians, there's something, there's something big wrong or whatever, because these kids should be, and there's no sport. You'd have them drinking, sitting around taverns or whatever, and there should be sport in the area, because we said if Chief Ngozoh, the old Chief Ngozoh, we were supposed to get land there, and our agreement was 5% of our profit we'll build a soccer field, and then we'll also have competition amongst the different headmans or whatever, so that we can promote sport, so the kids have got something that they can do, So and get them physically fit as well, and then they obviously do better at school because a fit body houses a fit mind. So that's important. And even other sports, cricket or whatever, we were looking at doing all that type of thing to develop that within the chief's area, but we didn't get that land. So that went down the drain, which was sad because if we were given that one in Chief Ngabwe's area, they would have built the power line from right up to the chief's palace. They would have built a tar road up to the chief's palace. They would have put up a pulverizing factory because we were supposed to plant fruits and stuff for, it's an American conglomerate of farmers. And each would have got a lot of money because it's 7 farmers. And that one, my cousin, is because they stopped us there, the 2 ministers of tourism, Mark and General Tembu, when they were ministers of tourism, said we can't go there or whatever. And then finally later on, the investment centre heard me. Chief Nguli was also going to give me land in her area, and I was at the investment centre, and they heard I was there. Then the legal lady came out and she said to me, "You got a problem." So I said, "What?" She says, "Why aren't you farming in Chief Ngabwe's area?" I said, "Hey, the ministers chased us out there." So then she said, "But they shouldn't have, because everything is approved. The maps were drawn, we paid the money. I mean, they didn't have money. We weren't supposed to pay the money for surveying, but we even did that, and we were supposed to be repaid that. We haven't been repaid that even up to date. But we lost that land as well. So, you know, it's things that could have happened. But why? Why didn't it happen? Because it would have been an incredible thing for Chief Ngabwe's area. So how do you answer that? I can't.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your thought-provoking insights, and we'll continue the conversation because I think you've got so many recommendations, and basing on how long you've been in the country, you've seen how, you know, the deterioration of the nation. Definitely. And what can be done to be redeemed. Yeah, well, you seem to have the ideas.
We just have to go back to God, Pauline, and be humble.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So if you have followed our conversations, I hope that you have gotten lots of insight from the 2 gentlemen, just like I have done. So join us next week right here on Light TV, and you can continue to follow our programming on Topstar Channel 121 and on Light TV Zambia Facebook page, on YouTube, Light TV, Twitter, TikTok, on all social media platforms. You can join in the conversation on Light TV. So this has been your host, and on behalf of the technical team, on my own behalf, and on behalf of the 2 wonderful gentlemen, would like to say thank you so much, and bye-bye.
Thank you, Pauline.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Show of the year.
Let's talk about it with Pastor Pauline. So we have been discussing foundations upon which most of the relationships are built.
Join us as we tackle the toughest social issues affecting our community, from child marriages to youth empowerment, and from gender-based violence to women empowerment, from governance to corruption, and, of course, women participation in politics, and other male-dominated industries. We will be discussing it all.
Leah, confessed it in Genesis chapter 29, verse 32. She says, "God has opened my womb because he has seen my affliction." But despite that, Jacob did not love her.
Our presenter,